Chapter 11. Govern over beasts with truth. God used the serpent. The one who made Adam and Eve eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is Satan. Because God's entire plan is fulfilled according to his will, the serpent, which is the flesh and blood, does not work in any way that it wants. 1 Samuel 16:23 shows us that God also uses the serpent to fulfill his plan. That is why the serpent did God's work. The serpent made Adam and Eve eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, but the serpent itself did not eat. It only taught. The serpent is one who deceived so that they would eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. It is crafty and knows God well. So it became Adam and Eve's teacher. But God should be the only teacher inside us. God used the serpent. By Adam and Eve eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, the sound of the serpent went inside them. Now, we must not listen to the sound of the serpent. We must no longer be deceived. The serpent must cause us to hear God's sound. If dust that the serpent eats runs out, God said to the serpent, "Eat dust all the days of your life." If dust all runs out, how would the serpent report to God? When dust runs out, the labor of sweating and giving birth comes to an end. If the work of 6,000 years over which the serpent had governed comes to an end, who would lay the hand now? 2 Peter 3:8 says, "With the Lord a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like a day." The end of 6,000 years has come. God created the sixth day, then told Adam, Eve, and the serpent to fulfill 6,000 years. The serpent, who ate dust thus far, took off its skin and developed one level at a time. Every time seasons changed, it grew and became a dragon. However, there is no longer any dust for the dragon to eat. So God will come, seize the dragon, and fulfill all the word of his covenant. God seizing the dragon is him seizing the sixth day. Inside of God's sixth day contains 6,000 years, and he seizes the plan of 6,000 years in one hand. Then blessing and wrath arises on this earth. If God takes hold of the sixth day and stands in the Sabbath, that time is blessing and wrath. Then blessing and wrath arises on this earth. If God takes hold of the sixth day and stands in the Sabbath, that time is blessing and wrath. The person who obeys receives blessing, and the person who disobeys undergoes wrath. If the dust which the serpent eats runs out, and the master of the Sabbath stands, Adam will open his eyes, the dragon will surrender, and Eden will be restored. Rule over beasts with truth. Eve should have listened to Adam's words in Eden, but since she listened to the serpent's words, she made Adam disobey. The woman should look only at Adam, but it is a problem because she looks at the serpent. Adam must rule over the beast, but Eve believed and followed the words of the beast, and Adam followed her. How are we going to look at Adam, Eve, and the serpent in the Bible? They are inside of our spirits. Spiritually, Adam belongs to the heart, Eve belongs to thought, and the serpent belongs to the flesh. Thought especially lives for the flesh and tries not to follow the heart. The person, Adam, could not rule over Eve. That is why Jesus, the last Adam, had come. The woman did not obey, quote, the woman did not obey the first Adam. Because the words of the serpent already went inside of her, it was difficult for her to return to Adam. That is why the human lost Eden and is wandering around. But the last Adam comes to restore Eden. This is the restoration of each individual's spirit. The first Adam made a mistake, but the last Adam is someone who overcame. For our spirits to become restored, he must enter inside us. If the last Adam comes, he takes over the original place. God gave him the authority. The first Adam had his authority taken away, but the last Adam finds it again. The last Adam seizes the dragon. He finds the woman and rules over the serpent. If Jesus, who is the last Adam, comes, then the woman obeys Adam and the serpent goes back to its rightful place. Then Eve and the serpent serve Adam. The last Adam is Jesus, who is to come again, and he is our head, the head of, quote, the woman. When the last Adam has not yet entered inside our spirits, it is more comfortable. This is because the self acts as the master. But when Jesus, who was victorious, enters inside me, he rules over me. He is my master, and I must only obey and submit. If I do not obey, it is noisy inside. Our spirits must go in our life of faith by serving truth. Only the word of truth can rule over my thought and flesh. I must know how to rule over them so that they do not come into my spirit. The serpent had entered because the inside of the spirit could not be ruled over. John 13:2 reveals that the serpent enters by riding the passageway of thought. I must rule over it and cause it to bow down. If I do not make it bow down, the household is noisy. The power of the woman cannot rule over beasts. Jesus, who is the husband and who was victorious, must come and rule over beasts with God's truth so that my spirit is peaceful inside.